Today I'll be changing the oil in a 2012 Honda Foreman trx500fpm, I believe. Before I get under, I'm going to show you the sizes of the oil filter. This is where the oil filter is located. You'll want to clean off any debris here because you don't want this getting in the engine when this comes off. Two sizes you can use: 8mm. Here's how tight that fits. Alternatively, you can use 5/16. Give you an idea, that's how tight that fits. On the bottom, the oil plug down here, there's actually, there's actually two sizes that'll fit this as well. Oil plug is reachable through the shield. Right down here is where the oil plug is. You can actually feel it. You can get down there and look. Let's see if I get my camera in here to show everybody. Right there. This is either a 17mm or alternatively an 11/16 will work down on this. I like to drive the four-wheeler a bit, get it nice to operating temp, and then let it sit a little bit where I can touch it. That way the oil's still really warm where it can drain, but the aluminum isn't so warm where you have to worry about stripping it easily. Alright, doesn't take much to loosen. If you have gloves, it's a good idea to wear them now. Alright, there we go. That's draining. Kind of wanted to show you the oil plug here. Has a crush washer. The manual says to replace this each and every time. So far I've reused it for the entire time I've owned this, and it's 2017 now. I've just been reusing it, and it's been sealing fine. We'll let the oil completely drain, then we'll move on to cracking the filter. And the reason we do that is because it is kind of a messy experience, because there's no place for the oil to go except down the foot thing here. Foot guard, whatever you want to call that. Alright, got my brake clean. I like to rub the dirt off of this. Don't need that getting in the motor. Spray it down with some brake clean or whatever cleaner choice. If you want to use a wire brush, that's probably fine too. And we'll move our oil pan so I don't make a mess. And also, it's just a good idea to catch any of that oil. I'll probably need my extension here. And just loosen these little by little because you don't want to warp this. Same when you go back to retighten it. Ready, tight, lefty, loosey. What that means is, imagine your wrench is a clock. Counterclockwise would be loosening, clockwise would be tightening. Just setting these screws aside. And we'll just ease this off. See, the oil just comes guzzling out of here. That's it. This is the filter right here. The filter actually comes with the new gasket that's around this piece. And the way the filter goes in, see the rubber end? Goes right on here. You actually just push it in. There's also a spring down here that can fall out. Most of the time it stays in, but if it falls out, you probably want to know how it should be sitting in there. And you can see it just sits right in here. Of course, make sure no debris in there or anything. but it shouldn't. It should be all caught in the filter. And always inspect this O-ring, because unfortunately the filter kits don't come with new ones of those, but so far after 1,000 hours worth of oil changes, haven't had to replace it. It's been staying dry, so figure I'll go with it until I start seeing a little oil seepage, and then I'll think of looking to get one. This is the wick stummer for the filter. Comes in its own little kit here. Filter, O-ring. That's all that comes with it. And we'll take a screwdriver and pick this off. And when you pick this seal off, be careful not to ding up everything here. They actually make pick sets for this, but bigger flat blade works fine if you're careful. See? Once you get it off, it just comes right off. I always recommend oiling up new seals. We'll do that once we get back on, because the oily O-ring's a lot harder to put back on. Or seat, I should say, in the groove. Just kind of go around like that. We'll take a bit of the oil that's held up right here. Just go around it. Then we'll clean this face here, because we don't want that to get in the way of what we're doing here. Any debris here can affect how it seals. And this is probably not going to get extremely clean, just, you know, like oxidization, all the other stuff going on. You just want it as clean as you can possibly get without sanding it. Alright, now the tricky part. Again, butter up this seal too. Just a little oil on that. See which way I'm putting it? It's the way it's supposed to go. This toward the spring end, the rubber end toward this end. Make sure to align this with the O-ring here. That spring's going to make it push back at you, so keep a bolt handy. Just push it in. And this is where it gets tricky, because that new seal, rubber O-ring you put on, is going to apply a little more pressure. There. And hold it in. And you don't want to snug this one bolt hard. It's just there to hold it while I get the other ones in place. And if you got an anti-seize and like using it, go ahead and put it on this. I've already done it in the past. They still look like they're coated. So I don't think I need to do it again this round. Okay, the bottom on this actually looks a little farther out than the rest of it, so we're going to push on it. Here we go. Now we're going to slowly and evenly torque these down, making sure the gap looks the same all the way around. Bottom here feels like it needs just a little more snugging. Okay, see how it now spread the top here? And we're going to go back there a little bit, not bombing out. Okay. See, look at that. Got that one nice and loose, so we'll do that again. That's starting to bomb out, so we'll move around. These don't need to be too tight. I've actually just used a screwdriver to tighten these before, but I wouldn't recommend it just in case it vibrates loose. Remember, these are small, they're fine thread, and they're in aluminum, so not much. They're just there to hold the rubber seal together. Rubber seals doing the sealing, those are just keeping everything in place. Now the filter's on, and we can go ahead and throw our plug back on. And remember to keep stuff nice and clean. Apparently I pulled my oil thing a little too far because I got a little puddle down there. That's okay. Straight up and in. We'll get it all threaded all the way with our finger. There's our wrench. And again, this just needs to be snug, not cranked hard. I need to get my extension or deep well socket here. Alright, that's tight. It's going nowhere. Now we'll top it off with some oil. And this is where we'll be filling the oil. I don't remember off the top of my head how many quarts this is, because I usually just buy one of the big jugs and fill it up slowly that way. It just uses 1040 with non-energy saving oil. I believe the energy saving has like moly in it, which is bad for the clutches inside these motors, which cause them to slip, ultimately destroying them. Again, we'll be cleaning up any debris around here. Don't need that getting in the motor. I just like to use either a wire brush and air it off, or brake clean. Hasn't affected anything yet, so. Here we go. Pop it out. Bear it back with my funnel. Okay, that's about half the jug. Let's take a quick look. Make sure to have a rag handy so you can wipe off dipstick. Remember, when checking dipstick on a Honda, well, specifically this year of 2012 Honda Foreman, manual specifically states, don't screw it in. You're just pushing it down, taking a look. Not even on dipstick at the moment, so dump a little more in. Halfway up the dipstick now, so a little more. When I say halfway, I'm actually talking about this section. Up to the top where tip my fingernail is, that's full. And I'm only halfway up to there. I've heard some people say that these Hondas seem to have a very short cycle between oil changes. I haven't compared them to any other ATV, so I don't know how true that might be. But I do know that every time I've followed their guidelines, it's based off of either running hours or miles, whichever, you know, cap you hit first. And every time I've changed it, it's not that the oil shot, it's actually diluted with all the fuel. So their schedule is actually set up for fuel dilution, because an engine like this probably just isn't getting warm enough, or I think they run them kind of rich, on the rich side, for whatever reason. I was always told it was to help with wear and tear in the motor. So it's a good idea to try to follow that. Alright, just hit the full mark. Now we'll go ahead and screw this back in. I like to start and run a vehicle a little bit so that oil filter can get saturated. And then we'll recheck the oil after we let it sit just for a few seconds. That should allow everything to drain back. And recheck the oil. It's just something I've just done it this way for years and haven't had a problem with any piece of equipment running dry and oil that way, and usually I seem to have an even full every time I've done it that way. So I actually filled this just a touch above the full mark, knowing that it was probably going to consume some. When I say a touch, I mean maybe a 1/16 of an inch. Perfect. Drawed that back down just right where I needed it. So now we're golden to run this. I forgot to share this, and you get a change oil alert on your display on your Honda Foreman. After you change your oil, you can reset this by holding the trip button while the key is off, then turning on the key while holding it. It's kind of hard one-handed. See if I can wedge this right here. So hold the trip, turn the key on, keep holding the trip, and eventually the oil change light will go off. And once it goes off, release it, and you've reset the oil change indicator. Like I said, I did that beforehand, so mine went away more quickly because that's more of a troubleshooting thing when this turns on. Anyways, I hope everyone found that helpful.